Welcome to OJAICAST, where we go deep on the music, musicians, and performances coming to the Ojai Music Festival, June 11th through the 14th. This is the festival's 80th year bringing music to the Ojai Valley, and we're welcoming Esa-Pekka Salonen as this year's music director. One of the things I love about this podcast is learning the backstories of the compositions and the fascinating performing techniques and the great connections to the festival's history. On our last episode, we spoke with percussionist Jonathan Hepfer, and today we're discussing many of the pieces on the Saturday evening program with pianist Vicki Ray. Vicki Ray is a pianist, improviser, and composer, and she'll be performing this year as part of the LA Phil New Music Group. She isn't a stranger to the Ojai Music Festival, and we're really looking forward to seeing her on the Libby Bowl stage very soon. Vicki, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I know that you've spent a lot of time up here in Ojai. Tell us about your history with the festival.
It goes back to, well, I'm going to date myself here, but I think the first time was in the late 80s. I was up at a wedding, my brother's wedding in Montana, and I got a phone call. Of course, we didn't have cell phones then. So I got a phone call from the festival at the last minute saying they needed someone to play synthesizer part with the LA Phil for the Lucas Foss percussion concerto that I think Jan Williams was playing and Lucas was conducting. And could I come and do it like the next day?
Oh, boy.
And I had driven to Montana. So after the wedding, I got in the car at about midnight and I started driving back to LA, to Ojai. Didn't have the music, of course, because, we couldn't just send a PDF back then. Right, and I think I broke a family speed record. I made it back to LA in about 17 hours. But I remember at one point outside of Las Vegas, I started hallucinating little white rabbits on the side of the road. I was so tired. So by the time I got to the rehearsal at Ojai, I think I was, I couldn't count to 3,
Wow.
But somehow I muddled through and it was thrilling. I didn't even know you were supposed to wear white on stage. So someone had to lend me a white sweater. But the whole vibe of the festival and the spirit of it was so overwhelming to me as a young person. And I've never forgotten it. And then I've come back many times since then, and it's always been a joyful thing.
Oh, that's great. I'm just can't stop picturing this lone sweater that you were wearing. For this year, you're coming as part of the LA Phil New Music Group. Tell us more about that. Yeah,
well, oddly enough, about 30 years ago, the LA Phil New Music Group programmed this piece, Related Rocks by Magnus Lindberg. And at the time, it was a brand new piece. And I played it at the Japan America Theater. And I've always wanted to do it again. And then lo and behold, suddenly it pops back into my life this year. So it's a piece it's about an 18-minute long piece for 2 pianos that also double on synthesizers and 2 massive percussion setups. And it's just a crazy, wild, beautiful ride that goes through all sorts of different colors and moods. And it's incredibly challenging to play in a lot of different ways.
I know we're going to be hearing that on Saturday evening, I think. Let's hear a little sample of Related Rocks by Magnus Lindberg. So that is pretty wild. 2 pianos, some crazy techniques. What are you doing there?
Well, we're going back and forth very quickly between the piano keyboard and the synth keyboard, which is mounted on top of our piano. So you have to be incredibly fluid and not get confused going back and forth. But that also means that you're controlling 2 different sustain pedals. We're used to just doing one with our right foot. We're also trying to turn our own pages because now we're using iPads. So that's a third pedal. And then we have to do program changes on the synth. So that includes hitting another switch to make sure we go through a series of 15 different program changes. And we're playing as a chamber ensemble. So we're watching each other, following each other's cues.
Right.
And a lot of the tempos are, I don't want to get too mathematical, but they relate to each other in something called a metric modulation, which is a kind of a tricky way to transition from one speed to another. And so all four people have to be really thinking and feeling and subdividing together as a unit. And that's a big project for a piece this long. I remember the last time we did this, one of my colleagues in the group kept track of how many hours we rehearsed, and we were narrowing in on 50 hours of rehearsal by the time we actually performed it.
Yikes.
Which is a lot. Yeah.
Well,
we'll see how it goes this time.
You're going to earn your keep here in Ojai, or we're going to get our money's worth. I understand Magnus Lindberg has a connection to this year's music director, Esa-Pekka Salonen. Is that right?
Yes, I think they are best friends, actually. They were actually born 3 days apart. I think they've known each other, lifelong friends. And I remember when I was first learning this piece, I was working with Esa-Pekka in Paris. We were doing this Ligeti opera, and the only place I could practice was in Esa-Pekka's dressing room, which he was fine with. So I'm learning this Lindberg piece, and he walks in, and without even looking at the music, he goes, "Oh, Magnus." Like he recognized his friend's music like right away. And he said, "Oh, octatonic scales." And I thought, oh my God, like these guys really know each other's music profoundly. And so I think Esa-Pekka had been instrumental in programming related rocks the first time. And then when he became music director for the Ojai Festival, he said that he wanted to have something by Magnus on the program. And so this is the piece they showed up again.
Yeah, you got to keep it among your friends, obviously.
And I wish I could tell you a story about the title and what it means, but I asked Magnus at the time, and he was not forthcoming. And all the research I've done online, he never writes in the program note what the title actually means. So you can only, I'm just guessing it has to do with the fact that these two giant black rocks that are piano-shaped are related to each other somehow. But who knows? Who knows?
Interesting. Well, maybe we can get a clue by taking another listen to a little more of Related Rocks by Magnus Lindberg. Well, that sounds super fun to play.
Yeah. It is in a hair-raising way, yeah.
Yeah. It seems like there's some pace there. There's another piece on Saturday evening I wanted to ask you about. It's Anna Thorvaldsdóttir's piece, Row.
Yes.
Can you tell us any? You have some familiarity there. What do you know about it?
I highly recommend your listeners to check out Anna's music because it's just beautiful, otherworldly, very much, I think, reflective of the landscape at Iceland. If you've ever been there, I played a piece first called Light of Air that was just one of the most magical, ethereal experiences I've ever had. And I think this piece, Row, is very much in that vein. As a pianist, I can tell you that she uses some beautiful effects, like you have to play harmonics inside the piano a lot, especially bass. But I know there's many sort of pseudo gong hits in the piano that way. She also asked the pianist to use something called an EBow, which is a device that actually electric guitar players use. Maybe you've seen that.
Yeah, sure.
So it's a little device that has a magnet that vibrates inside, and if you set it on the piano strings in the middle of the piano register and you put down the sustain pedal, the string just magically vibrates, and so the sound just sort of drifts out of the piano. And the piano is essentially a percussion instrument. We have a hammer that hits a string. So for us to be able to make a sound just materialize out of nowhere is incredibly gratifying. And she uses that effect a lot in the piece also. And she also has you do things like strum over the bass strings and a lot of really beautiful effects like that.
And it's a lot of fun to watch you sort of get up in the guts of the instrument. It's a lot more embodied, right?
It is. I feel like some kind of mad scientist, performing an operation on the piano. It's fun.
Let's take a little listen to a bit of Row. Wow, that is beautiful. And jumping from that haunting piece by Anna Thorvaldsdóttir right into a more percussive piece, let's take a listen to Gabriela Smith's Anthozoa. That's a little bit of Gabriela Smith's Anthozoa. Talk about percussive.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on there? A lot of muting and tapping? What?
Exactly, yeah. At the beginning, the pianist has one hand on the keyboard and one hand inside the piano, and they're going back and forth between muting the string, playing a harmonic on the string, and then just playing normally. And so it gets very complicated in terms of following the notation. Mm-hmm. And then later on, I think she has you knocking inside the struts. I think that's some of the percussive stuff you hear. And then I think also at one point you grab a mallet and you're playing with the mallet inside the piano. So you really are a percussion instrument in this piece. But then at the end, well, I won't give it away, but the piano gets to have a beautiful moment at the end. Wow,
there's a surprise at the end of Gabriela Smith's Anthozoa.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to that. Also on Saturday night, Esa-Pekka is conducting the Chamber Symphony by John Adams. What can you tell us about that piece?
What a great way to end a program. And Esa-Pekka has conducted so much of John's music. I mean, they've been working together for decades. And Esa-Pekka has recorded and premiered countless pieces of John's. And so to end the program with this piece is just great historically, but also it's a wild ride. It's got virtuoso parts for the players. The string parts are crazy hard, but really fun. It'll be a great culmination of Esa-Pekka's relationships to everybody on the program, I think.
Awesome. Sounds really fun.
And playing for Esa-Pekka is such a joy. As a player, he just makes you feel inspired and amped up, but also like he's just so rhythmically fantastic that it's thrilling to play for him.
Even in his dressing room, apparently.
Hey, don't get me in trouble.
Let's take a little listen to Chamber Symphony by John Adams. That's a piece of Chamber Symphony by John Adams. We're going to be hearing that on Saturday night. Always our last question is about a piece of music that you're just digging, that you're loving right now for any reason. What have you brought for us?
Well, right before the pandemic, my friend Jack Dutling, who is the head of the piano department at CalArts, my old job. He said, "Do you know this piece called Rundfunk by Enno Poppe?" And I was like, "No." And I played Poppe's music, and I really loved it. He said, "Well, check it out." So it's a piece for 9 synthesizers, and it's about an hour-long piece, and it goes through all these different sounds and tuning systems, and I've always wanted to do it. And we were trying to get it to happen, and then the pandemic hit, of course. So I'm very excited that just recently we got Pianist Vicki got invited by the Niinimäki Theater in Westwood to do Rundfunk. So we have assembled a team of 9 amazing pianists, and we are going to share this crazy piece. And I think it's a U.S. premiere, which is really
great.
Be really exciting.
Great. Well, let's take a listen to Rundfunk by Enno Poppe. All right, pretty funky. Thank you, Vicki Ray, for turning us on to that. And we're so excited to have you be back in Ojai, hopefully in your own sweater, which you may or may not need.
For sure.
Thank you so much for being with us, Vicki.
It was my pleasure, and hope to see you guys there when I'm there.
Yes, please.
All right, take care.
Thank you to pianist Vicki Ray for shedding some informative light on the Saturday evening program, coming up at the Ojai Music Festival from June 11th through the 14th. Esa-Pekka Salonen is this year's music director, so you don't want to miss it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the festival. OJAICAST was produced by Will Thomas for the Ojai Music Festival. Visit ojaifestival.org for more information on the program, tickets, and please consider donating to the festival to keep innovative music coming to the Ojai Valley. You can find me on Instagram at NoxonArt or online at ChristopherNoxonArt.com.